Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to play a game I found at itch.io, and I've actually known about this for a long time, called Swooning Over Stans. So we're going to try to do, Ford today. I'll do Ford. So let's start. And we're going to try to, I'm going to edit it in to be the full length of the route instead, so it'll be a while for the setting. Good old road trips, full of full of promises, full of promise, ripe with the potential for adventure, soul-searching, and incredible scenery. Or at least that's what you thought before the novelty wore thin. As for now, your legs are cramping, and you exhausted your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is beginning to begging for something to eat. On top of all of that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Driving from Oregon paints a picture of trees, and more trees, especially on the endless, windy roads that you take up north. All that breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past with the words that you just able to make out: Gravity Falls. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. You find yourself anticipating something, because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is bound to happen here. Something weird. And then that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere, and you quickly put your foot on the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to calm down despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake, only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screeching against the country road, and you're scrambling until crash. There's smoke. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumbling it to the ground, and manage to undo the lock just before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. Are you alright? A man stands over. It's Ford. The man stands at your open car door. He a hand on your shoulder, leaves to tilt your head, and he pulls a flashlight from his coat, shining it into your eyes. 2 blinks, and he lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for energies. Still stunned, all you do is watch. What's your name? Regular person. Digital wave. What's your pronouns? She, her. Digital wave. I'm Stan Ford Pines. It's Ford for short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as is. You seem fine, as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving in such a hurry? Nowhere, everywhere. You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better be one of your experience, not be one of your experience again. I had this place rebuilt too many times to. The owner of the voice walks out of the house and stops slack-jawed at the sight of your car and the side of your guessing his house. You must hit your head earlier, because you could swear you're seeing double. Sweet molasses, Ford. You done it this time. What? This had nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun and it must have pulled the victim of circumstances into the house. I suppose it's entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. Reassure him. Reassure yourself. Cry. Reassure him. Unaware of why you're reassuring the mystery man who just wrecked your car, you give an awkward shrug. It's alright. No, I must have done something wrong. A wire mix-up, perhaps, or the protometer. They're talking about your other mistake, Sixer. Alright. Hey, look, it's fine, alright? Sure, there's a dent on the hood from the shack's signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle. Phil. But I'm sure she'll still run. You try to start up the car. It sputters, but ultimately does nothing. You feel like crying. Oh. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget. I'll take care of it. You're right, it's cheaper to tow it yourself, Sixer. Get your magnet gun out again. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. What? Haha, you fix this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you kidding me? It'd take a lot more miracle worker to fix this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, a moment. Ford and Stanley turn away, and you're left to your thoughts. Who could anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of the road trip? You can take care of the car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you'll take a bus out of here, and then Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. Seems like they finished their talk. So there's a few options. My brother Stanley here could drive you out of town to find a place to stay for the night, or you could stay the night here. We have some maps and information you can look at in the gift shop, and in the morning we could help you with your car. What do you say? Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside the house. Grunkle Stan? Grunkle Stan! Picture this, a whole week of, oh my gosh! Mabel! I love Mabel, I love the artwork. The girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the sign of your car. Oh great. Grunkle Ford, why is it that everyone automatically thinks it's my fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I invited Digital Web here to stay with us for the night. If she like, I can fix this. I just have to figure out how. Stanley sighs. I could take a look. Being on vacation's pretty boring, and the old Stanabill hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it wouldn't be too bad to look on something in the meantime. Work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I could put something together from the gadgets I have laying around if you need any specialized tools to help you on with your job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Maple. You can call me anything. I pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay and to repair your car. It'll be good as new in my hands. Look at my Stanabill. She's been through the ringer. Who knows how many times she's still a beaut. He points out a red car parked in the distance away. He can't really see how beautiful it is in this distance, but he sounds really confident. Well, this turn of events is fortuitous. free repairs, free launching. There's no better deal to be found. And if things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop that you can head to instead. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. As the Pines lead you inside the house, Maple leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin goes by Stan. This part of the house, but just outside the door, is the Mystery Shack. Hey, have you ever been to the Mystery Shack before? I want to, actually. I saw the bumper sticker when I was on the road and got curious. Irritated by a loud tramp, ha! Those bumper stickers were good investment, and Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic, and don't even have to address on when Stanley now is anyone is supposed to find this place to attract customers. Sixer, don't you hear that? Well, they're graphically simplistic. I don't know how she found this place, let alone it thought what the Mystery Shack was compelling. What is the Mystery Shack was compelling? I found this place because, magnetic gun. I kind of liked it. See, she kind of liked it. Hey, I like you, Digitwave. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow? Regular price. Tomorrow? Then I have to squeeze all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Digitwave, tell me. Capybara? Yes or no? At this moment, a boy passes in the hallway at the far doorway, and Ford calls out to him. Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised. I didn't see you run out to the scene of the crime. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi. Oh, you have someone with you. I'm not suspicious at all. Didn't you guys see that that car in the side of the shack, though? For a second, I thought the Matadors were back with a grudge. Yes, about that, Dipper, meet Digitwave. I stranded her by her car. She's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded her car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the S in the shack fell on and everything, and the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield. And Digitwave was lucky to make it out alive. She's fine, no injuries, thankfully. The magnet gun, rather safe despite never having been tested in a formal setting. Jeez, did you not, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install the safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do the nerd talk, I'm gonna get Digitwave's Maple, sweetie, why don't you show Digitwave around? Let her stay in the storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. The rest of the day consists of Maple showing you the storage room you'll be staying in, and then the kitchen, in the living room, in the hallway, in the bathroom, and pretty much the comprehensive tour of the amenities of the regular house. Eventually, you find out that the family is even more extended than you know. The decorative dollies make a lot more sense knowing Grandma normally lives here. And her grandson, Seuss. They don't live in the Mystery Shack, I can tell you that. Or was it Zeus? Whatever the name, you look forward to meeting him when he comes in for work in the morning. When you go up to the attic, Maple opens the door to reveal Dipper, no stuck in his book. But you catch him occasionally glancing up from you to pretend as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you when from Maple's bed. A rotund pink pig who Maple declares as her best friend and partner in crime, waddles. The two are a perfect match. right down to the chubby cheeks and boppable noses. And an evening, though you've still been in disbelief over the state of your car, the family dinner, and after dinner TV marathon you've been invited to, made it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstances. Returning to the storage room Maple had shown you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you, and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. You wake to the weak glare of sunlight streaming in through the small, high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel for that matter, and then yesterday comes crashing back to you. You glance at the time to see that you slept into the afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have tired you out. Must have left you tired out. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you were free to anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as polite a guest breakfast as you can. You wash the dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Ford! From yesterday, of course. For a good, solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. Ford, hopefully I'm going for you first, so. Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley is taking a look at your car outside, if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make to leave for the real. You give a nod and make to leave for real this time when Ford speaks up again. And did you wave? I'm sorry again for the accident. If I've been smart about, well, let's just say it's entirely my fault, you shouldn't worry about this at all. And don't worry, Ford. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. You can't keep the dismay off your face, and can't really bring yourself to try either. I just see the dead possum right here. What am I going to do with weeks? I'll be fine. Phone repair, play some with baby. If I don't have my gaming system, my computer. Ford, who has gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off when you face fell, recovers at the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there's a town to tour, of course. And the Mystery Shack. And if you ask me, all that pales in comparison to... Hold on. Do you hear that? Hear what? Ford turns to his kitchen, and to the kitchen doorway to investigate. Sounds like... The sound comes again, and this time, you hear it as well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps. Running down the stairs, Waddles tramples past the open kitchen doorway, and Maple comes into view. Soon after, a few sheets of paper, lunch dinner in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen, and he falls to the doorway, getting there just in time to see the apparent tug of war between Maple and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. What did Waddles steal? The paper slips, and after nearly dropping back from her efforts, Maple recovers, snatching a scrap of ripped paper from Waddles' jaw, and rips both pieces up victoriously. Maple wins again. Now I just gotta find Grunkle Ford. Ford, who runs forward and held a hand out steadily, then the steadily energetic child when she's been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumbled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Maple tugs urgently at his coat. Grunkle Ford, you have to help me! Okay, I love the fact that you could tell, not I mean right here, but you could tell it's Maple. Hey, why is Maple having the same shirt? You would think sweater. You would think she would change sweaters each day. I mean, it's Maple. She does that in the show. Ford kneels down to face Maple with a serious, though concerned look. And yeah, Ford, the six-fingered hand. Slow down, Maple. What's the matter? Dipper found a stack of papers from your old journals, and I walked in, and Waddles ran up and started eating one, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me. Grunkle Ford, because look. Maple takes the ripped halves of the paper back from Ford's hands and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. I see. And you took it as a warning? Yes, it says here that it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig. But he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must fear for his life. Waddles seems to second that notion with a snort, or not, as it seems the pig is wandering adorably a short distance away from the hallway. You can't imagine what this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf, something bigger. You suddenly not so keen on it staying anymore. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time. I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are are allowed in museums around here? How about I finish the repellent I never got around to complaining? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Maple flops down on the floor in relief. Grunkle Ford, you are an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. All right, let's go get my recipe. Ford turns to leave, and then you suddenly remember that there was nothing better to do for weeks. You're going to be here. It won't hurt you to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is to do around town. Anyway, and you need that to not die of boredom in the first week. Or more impressively, you could go check on your car and see what Stan made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car in the side of the road again, though. What should you do? Go get to know Ford. Ford, wait! I need a hand with that recipe. I can handle it myself. Wait. Ford, wait! Need a hand with that recipe? I can handle it myself. Are you sure you don't could use a hand? Ford looks away, and then you follow his averted line of sight to Maple, who just mouthed something that you couldn't catch. Maybe she catches you looking her way. Maple gives you a 100-watt smile, the picture of innocence. Ford rubs the back of his neck. Yes, I suppose I can sub some help. Yay! And with that reassured that Ford is on task, you spot Maple rolling away with Waddles into the living room. Before getting started, I suppose I should give you an introduction. Just wave, tell me, do you believe in the supernatural? I'm gonna say yes. Well, you're about to come face to face with the unexplainable yourself. You see, Gravity Falls isn't some quite unassuming backward town. Much more lurks below its surface. Ford pockets the crumbled journal paper and gestured for you to join him. As he walks, you do, and follow him through the living room and into the gift shop. For example, you must have heard Maple mention a pterodactyl. Most would say none exist in the living world today, but I say not if you know where to look. Ford reaches under the cashier counter and retrieves a packet of vintage-looking gum, inspecting it for a moment before slipping it into his pocket. He looks through it, around and thought, hold on to that. Hold on to my expiration for a moment. I need to retrieve some more supplies. Ford ushers you out of the gift shop entrance so that you can find yourself on the outside of the shack. Then shuts the door behind you. Okay. Respect the man's privacy. He's clearly got business in the gift shop. You're correctly and politely just stand there until Ford returns. You may scan the sky for a pterodactyl for a while. I'll say Aerodactyl instead because I know how to pronounce Aerodactyl. Not too much later. Too long later, the door opens behind you and Ford joins you outside, looking no different than before. He must have stored whatever supplies he went to retrieve in his coat, but the trench coat falls too naturally on his figure for him to be hiding much. Where are we? Ah, yes. Ford pulls out a pen and a wad of paper from his coat, walking as he writes. Just as you're about to head out, he stops and smacks his hand to his face. Oh shoot, one sec. Ford hurries back to the house, realizing he forgot one important component to the venture, a butterfly net. Before you get a chance to ask, he strides out ahead of you, obviously in no mind to tell you what is for quite yet. The pair of you walk past the shack and down to the well-worn path into the trees surrounding the house. Sunlight picking between the vines. He double-checks whatever he's scrabbling onto the paper and tucks it back into one of his coats, surprisingly in infinite pockets. He stops and turns to face you with a definite nod. My recipe for repellent called for a spur of lavender, 2 thin slices of ginseng, and a drop of bat blood, a check of amber, and a 3.5 meters of ink. He pauses, staring down at the path in thought. Honestly, I already had all those components on hand, except for one last ingredient, a single moth wing. From Mothman itself. So, do we have to go all the way to I brain farted. Brain farted where Mothman is. You can't help it. You gasp. Ford glances at you and think you can see a hint of smile before he turns back to the path and continues along, wind ruffling through his hair. You see, Mothman is a very creature on the page that Waddle seems to be fear. Using a piece of it itself could ward it away, or at least lead it to believe that Waddles isn't for eating. I would have already completed the repellent years ago if I managed to collect that wing. Was it too difficult? Oh, I just never got around to it. Besides, Mothman used to combat at this lamp. I had lit it out in the backyard. It seemed to be such an innocent hobby that I never had the heart to chase it off. And if that brings Mabel and her pig peace in mind, then the time has come to finish this. Sunlight filters in for the trees, causing dampened shadows across Ford's coat, and he leans in front of you. Break the silence. Wait for him to speak. How do you know much about this stuff? How much further are we walking? About a mile or so. Well, Mothman's home is in the West Virginia. Oh, that's where it is. I played Fallout 76 and I forgot West Virginia. I found that he has a summer vacation home in no other than Gravity Falls. And by home, I mean a cave in the woods. It's a nice place if you like the dark. How do you know much of this stuff? I study anomalies. Anything unusual, strange, and just plain weird. I began my research in this town because it was, and remains, a hotbed for paranormal activity. So it's like a hell moth from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I made this exact trap years ago, though at that time I had no idea where I was going. It was just dumb luck that I managed to get a tail Mothman back to his cave from the backyard. Navigating the forest by moonlight is plague, but not advisable. I made plenty of those discoveries as well, from fairies to gnomes to a emblem of creatures who were never meant to cross. Wait. Ford reaches to his pocket and pulls out a slightly crumpled pages Maple had pushed into his hand earlier, smoothing them out and ruffling through them. Take a look at these. They're more descriptive proof than just my word. He slipped the pages from him and find that they're scanned pages of some sort of journal. Just as you heard Maple say, fluid cursive tells of Mothman. Beard cubs, scamflies, and more. Ford gestures to them and explains. I detail my discoveries in a series of research journals. The remaining pages, at least, I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. Okay, you draw these. Why are any of these creatures ever dangerous? You have gone up some crazy stuff back there. Then, you draw these? Yes, of course. Who else? They're so photorealistic. My work is far better. My work now is far better, but I appreciate the compliment. Despite his understated words, Ford looked surprisingly pleased. Were any of these creatures ever dangerous? Oh, extremely. Some were worse and dangerously annoying. Though Ford seems to find his own compliment amusing, he doesn't fail to notice your unease. I do have weapons in case things escalate, so no need to worry. You brought weapons? Not many. I have a stun gun, my fist, and my sharp wit. I feel safer already. You must have gone to some crazy stuff back then. That's one way to put it. Only took 6 years for me to get it over my head. He takes a moment to look away from your gaze and seemingly embarrassed remnants. You didn't bring your maggot gun? I thought it would be prudent to leave a maggot filled along for a while until I have the time to optimize it. You see, I was trying to widen the area of the mag influence, but it's been a while since I last worked with that gun. I need to refamiliarize myself with the inner workings. My guess is I switched the wrong wire to and instead narrowed the beam. I like to see how it works sometime. Really? You know, if you're interested in devices like that, my old research colleague, Phil Ford, would have more to show you. He's engineering genius around here. Ask him more about the creatures. Is it true that it says that Mothman turns into a bunch of moths? Yes, that's how we get the moth wing. Then why not use mothballs as repellent? Well, I never tried it. Could the most controversial methods be the uncontroversial one? Or would Mothman be able to overcome the mothy nature and persist? You mentioned gnomes. Okay, you mentioned gnomes. I want to do that. Yeah, places have rats, mice, insects, house pests, and we have gnomes. Picture your typical garden gnome, but more disturbing. Okay. Acorn. 4 groans. You wait for her answer, but that's it. Okay, we're gonna... I doubt we'll spot it today. Perhaps we can go bar watching it later if you're interested. Okay, there are floating eyeballs here. Sounds discouraging, it doesn't? I only released them in my house by accident and found eyeballs in the most unexpected places for months. My guests choose not to comment on my choice of house decor. Gravity Falls is home to giant vampire bats. Giant fruit bats, actually. They're among the first to teach me not to judge the creature by its reputation. I only realized that they were harmless once I'd been bitten by one. Oh, no. It still sounds pretty bad. Actually healed quite fast. I attributed that to the health kick I was on sooner or later after. You mentioned Grim Goblin? A worse fisherman that I since steered clear of when accompanied by others. Though, if you want to see one in person, I'm sure it won't hurt to walk into the situation again for the sake of education. Okay. Ford puts an arm out in caution, slowing his pace. He narrowly managed not to collide into him and take a quick glance around to see nothing. Look there. You see what looks like a bundled up plaid shirt running along the forest floor. Wait, is that a beaver tail? It looks like a platypus. Or what are you doing all the way out here? Do you mean platypus? Ford shakes his head with a grin. I meant what I said, a platypus or a platypus. Ford moves in a crouch, but stays in a respectful distance, following the small creature. You watch him, and for a moment, mix his action. Ford gives the creature a bright smile, the first of its kind. Then you've seen since living the maple at the shack. You're a cute one, aren't you? And in one of my favorite patterns too. Ford motions for you to come closer a little more, at the distance he's maintaining. If I were to rate the oddities that live in the forest on a scale of at least to most annoying, these little guys would get immunity. They have done nothing wrong, and I appreciate them for it. And the two of you watch in quiet admiration. The platypus embers into the underbush and vanishes from view. What a cute little guy. The two of you could tune deeper into the forest. The forest seemed denser now, and you look through the treetops for a glimpse of sunlight for the sun, which by now dropped low in the sky. It had already been getting late when you left, but you hadn't thought Mothman would be this far out. Almost as though he read your mind, Ford answers for you. Mothman is reclusive, and as such, lives deeper within the forest than bolder creatures like the gnomes. Are you alright? Huh? That is, are you tired at all? I should have asked sooner. It's been a long time since I've traveled with anyone new. Stanley tends to speak his mind without me asking. I'm tired. This was a long walk. I'm more worried about getting stuck out here at night. I'm fine, really. I'm glad to hear it. Still, we have some time until sunset. Let's wait here in the meantime. You mentioned traveling with Stan. Is that what you do for fun? Why wait until sunset? I never figured. So, is this what you do for fun? Saving my niece's pet for possible danger? No, not really. I mean, what about trips like these and your research? They come with a certain thrill, and I do enjoy my research, but none of my favorite pastimes. Dipper tells me it's actually grown quite popular recently, is playing Dungeons and Dragons and more dungeons. I believe Dipper prepared a campaign he thinks will really stump me this time. I'm incredibly excited. The moment the sun touches the horizon, through the grass over the treetops, Ford gestures for the two of you to continue. You hadn't noticed, but you've been resting within the short distance of the small clearing that holds a centigrade stone marker. It's like cylindrical stone marker. The stone marker bears in intricate swirls carved into the surface. Ford reaches into his coat and produces a pack of gum from earlier, placing it and clumping the pieces out onto his palm. Gum? Thanks. Unsure of why you came all this way out here to unwrap a gum at sunset. You accept the stick of gum. Ford puts the remaining gum in his pocket, coat breast pocket. He unwraps the now empty gum packet to reveal that it was hiding a small piece of parchment, folded up to act like a lining. He smooths out against the stone, holding it under the deep orange light of the sunset. You step closer to look over Ford's shoulder. The parchment holds a detailed drawing of the swirls carved into stone, documenting every crack on the surface. As you watch, a golden cursive unfolds against the unfolds itself across the page, suddenly filled by the sunset's warm light. Ford leads the words as they appear. Such a place the Mothman does rest. But please do not disturb his nest. If kindness be something thou befit. Ford lifts the parchment a little higher to prevent his shadow from obscuring the rest of the line. Follow the nature and turn left. I think we should turn left. I think so, Digital Wave. We press onward. Left leads you to a dimly lit cave, which Ford says he remembers. Well, except last time he was here, it was pitch black, since he arrived in the middle of the night. From the depths, you hear a faint sound of dripping water, echoing off the cave's shrouded walls. You slow as your eyes attempt to adjust to the low light. Ford pauses in front of you, reaching into the coat for something. Hold on, I have a flashlight in here somewhere. This cave has never received much nature light, you see, and he rummages further, and you see a common dice, the pad of paper from earlier, and a quill. He has some custom pocket work going on in there, too. And you bet one of those coat liners pockets has a pen protector in it. Here we are. At last, allow me to... Darn out batteries. Wait, I think I have one. You pull out your phone and turn on the flashlight. The light is small, but does its job. Huh? You saved our hides there, did you, Wave? I was about to pull out a matchbook. With the light guiding the way, you and Ford move through into the cave, which yawns wide around you. It wasn't until the shiver of natural light from the entrance disappears that Ford speaks again. It's been years since I've been here, decades even. At this point, but I'm always remember the eye bats as one of my first discoveries when I arrived at Gravity Falls. How did you find them in the first place? One got in my house. You see, I was making breakfast one morning, and one managed to find my cereal box. When I poured the cereal into the bowl, it came fluttering out, agitated, like it belonged there. The nerve. He still sounded so indignant, even years later, that you laugh. I wanted to contain it for further study, but unfortunately, it managed to get away. As I thought about it afterwards, its pupils had constricted against the light, unfamiliar of the bright light in the kitchen. So either it's nocturnal, or it lives in the deepest, darkest cave in Gravity Falls. I found them easily after that. Did you manage to catch one? Somewhat. I came running through the cave with a butterfly net and my wits. I brought a working flashlight that time. They all hid in dark corners. Once I turned the flashlight off, they flocked to me. I caught 18 of them that day, but it reminded me of the stealth uses of. The rapid sound of clicking claws against the stone startles you, a shiver running up your spine. The dark. You turn off your light. Ford taps your shoulder and gestures for you to keep moving forward. Eventually, the narrow passage widens into a large room. The darkness shards the source of dripping water from view. But as your eyes adjust, you squint to see a strange winged shadow. A shadow with eyes that glow in the near darkness like rubies. A breath catches in your throat as a realization comes over you. Ford apparently fairly close to you in the room. You find when he speaks a few inches from your shoulder, you catch the shadow of his arm swaying out in the wide arc, like he's introducing you to. Did you wave? I'd like you to meet the Mothman. He whispers, but even in the dark, you see him grinning silently at you. Ford looks between you and Mothman, apparently hoping for a dramatic reaction. Your speechlessness seems to satisfy you. Don't worry, it hasn't noticed us yet. But here's the plan. You make contact with Mothman and he pulls out a butterfly net and a large lidded jar. Now, where did that come from within his coat pocket? Coat of mysteries is lost to you. We'll capture one of the 100 moths that comprises it. Wait, I get to touch Mothman? The Mothman? You're hitting with it with a butterfly net? Seriously? Isn't that a little dangerous? Can I do it? Can I take the knife? Wait, I can touch the Mothman? Yes, and turn it into hundreds of black witch moths. It's like experiencing a swarm of locusts. Surprising when you're not expecting it. Remember, even just a light touch is enough. You steal yourself weighing for a single. He waves his hand to coach you forward, and then it's up to you to decide how to and will make contact. Run around the back of its blind spot. Approach with stealth. You tiptoe towards Mothman, remembering Ford's comment on the dark and trying to channel your inner stealth skills. Of course, that's the moment your phone decides to start blasting "Take Over Midnight" by Aunt Sandra. You confused before remembering that Mabel add her number to your contacts and must have made that her custom ringtone. Mothman turns to the noise and screeches, but before you can barrel into it, the creature explodes into hundreds moths spurring around you, getting stuck in your shirt and skipping around your face, surrounding you in mothy hell. The task completed, Ford rushes into a large swarm of moths, waving the butterfly net. With a few unsuccessful swipes, he tries swatting the most aggressive ones away, but there are too many. Use the phone's light to attract them towards you and run away from Ford. Run at Ford and start swatting at monsters with your bare hands. Okay, I'm gonna use the phone's light. You grab your phone and click a switch on the light, running to Ford's side and holding it high. You even attempt to call them over, despite knowing that they won't respond to sound. Before long, they all crowd around the phone, the sight of the light flickering and reflexing off of so many small wings would be somewhat captivating if he had just been in the midst of them. Ford puts the butterfly net back away in a jar in hand, carefully scoops one of the moths up. Well, that could have been better, but we see it nevertheless. As Ford pockets the jar, you turn off the light. With no light, no threat to focus on, the cloud dispenses. That was amazing. Ford laughs, brushing dust and dirt off his trench coat. You could say that. Our completed repellent is within sight. Let's head back. Ford turns to leave the cave. He looks down and calm and content. You, on the other hand, are buzzing with energy under the adrenaline rush. Should you go for a high five? Yes. You raise your hand in a universal understood offer of a high five. Ford pauses, then grins, high-fiving you, or rather 6. When you and Ford finally reach the cave entrance, you find the forest that you left in the dying light is now awash with silver glow. A gap between the leaves overhead provide a view of the night sky along with a string of stars. A few more steps in the Milky Way comes to view, looking as if a tear across the fabric of the sky. Ford notices you looking. See something? The parajackal usually doesn't come out in this way, but being a prehistoric creature, its behavior is rather unpredictable. Never seen the Milky Way in person before. Actually, I have, but that's because I lived too far away from the actual town. I'm gonna say I haven't seen it in a while. I had a couple of chances this summer. It looks stunning over the calm ocean at night. It's incredible up here. He gazed up at the night sky. A whole year has passed, yet it still feels strange to see a sky I recognize. What? Oh, traveling, you know. I was in a different part of the world. You stare up at the sky in uncomfortable silence for a few moments. The quiet of the forest settled in, along with the distant sound of falling water, and you find yourself surprisingly glad that Ford had accidentally pulled you here. Is this one of those moments you get to experience? Out of the corner of your eye, you swear to see Ford looking at you instead of looking up, but when you tilt your head back down, his attention is elsewhere. Eventually, the two of you come to a word of mutual agreement to keep you on, and you're walking again. You have to show me the other creatures that live here sometime. You're glad to see. You're glad you said so. When you look over to find that Ford looks pleasantly surprised to hear it, His chest puffs out with pride. Of course, maybe we'll even get to spot the hide behind, or tag along with Dipper when he visits the multi-bear. The what? Ford taps his temple, grinning. You have to wait until I show you to find out. I'm holding you to that. We have some time before you get back, if you're up for another walk. He must have taken he must make a face because Ford looks back at you and laughs. We're not far, I promise. I just thought I might answer a few of your questions, if you have any. Actually, I do have questions. You must stay in great shape if you do this all day. Actually, this point of this sort of thing isn't part of my spirits exercise regime. Ford turns out left in the stone marker towards the sound of the river, and sure enough, after a while, it comes into view. The moonlight illuminates the water as you walk along it. After following the river for a few minutes, the shoreline expands in a small, round lake in the corner of the clearing, overarching in its large, flat rock. The kind that could be used as a less than effective driving board in times of emergency. The emergency being that one just hand to jump into the lake. However, without neither you or Ford really looked at the direction of the driving board, he leads you towards the edge of the lake, where a relatively flat boulder could substitute for a bench, and the two of you take a seat. Ask about the creatures of Gravity Falls. You said to wait, but I have to at least get a preview of what I'm getting into. Not content to leave them to discover yourself? Well, has anyone told you about the Gobblewonker? You start, taken back at the name, but compose yourself when Ford simply raises his eyebrow. I don't think so, no. Then, not even in the tourist guide? Does the office even read my letters? Ford mutters to himself something about updating the tourist guide to warn against local dangers. He sighs with frustration that serves the reserve for bureaucracy, but soon winds up at the prospect of getting to introduce you to another strange creature. Well, the Gobblewalker is a large sea creature that lives in this very lake. One could say it's our version of the Loch Ness Monster. My old research assistant apparently saw it at some point. He said it was large, gray, and scaly, with a long neck like a giraffe. He wouldn't have had any odd signs yet, have you? It's only been 24 hours, but my first encounter with the strange occurrence occurred only shortly after my arrival as well. Not apart from today. Well, doesn't count on that being the norm, Digitwave. In fact, the norm is a laughable concept here. Ask about his family. What's Maple like? In short, a force to be reckoned with. She radiates charm and positivity, and has a depth of determination I can only guess at. You find out for yourself, most likely. It's hard not to wake up one day and find yourself her friend. Perhaps you already are. He wiggles his fingers spriggly in the air and you laugh. I don't doubt it. So what's Dipper like? Dipper is very intelligent in many ways. He reminds me of, well, myself. Last summer, he found the research journals I mentioned, and instead of overlooking them, made some impressive contributions of his own. He has since started his own journal, and I look forward to see what life will take him. He's made me prouder than I can say. Who's Zeus? Oh, the handyman, Zeus. I'm still not sure what he does exactly, but Stan gave him the rights to conduct his business with the shack, so he spends his day giving out tours, selling merchandise, fooling the townsfolk, giving no refunds, and the like. I may not have been around the original Mystery Shack very often when Stan was still running it, but I believe Seuss is doing the brand name good. What's Stan like? Stubborn, foolhardy, a liar, and a cheapskate. But a true hero at heart. There's no one else I'd rather call my brother. Asks Ford about the stars. He asks Ford if he has a favorite constellations, and he answers, come faster than you expected. Orion and Ursa Major, without doubt. What about you? Coincidentally, Ursa Major. Well, you must have good taste. As for staying, are you really okay with me staying here? Absolutely, I owe it to you after all. You helping me today, however, was not part of the plan. You're making it rather hard to sell my debt. I think you did me a favor just by letting me come along today. The two of you share a smile. Oh yes, Mr. Shack used to be my home once upon a time, and now it's a tourist trap. I'm glad for what it became as my home. I just wish it wasn't so offending to each of the senses. Ford looks across the lake in thought. Did you wave? I have to admit, I didn't want to take you with me earlier today. I thought I'll be walking myself into an uncomfortable social situation. So did you, to be honest. Well, you did well out there. Not many tourists could handle that kind of task. We just completed. This had the potential to have gone disastrously. I mean, butterfly net against Mothman? A 3% success, right? Sometimes the more Ford speaks, the less reassuring you feel, until all that left is the distant unease. You smile and nod anyway. The two of you sit in another moment of quiet night air, pleasantly chill around you until Ford breaks it. We should head back now. I'm sure Mabel will want to hear we've been successful. You stand and give Ford a hand from the makeshift bench. Ford takes the lead again, and soon you're no longer able to catch sight of the lake when your head glance back. Ford gradually adjusts his pace to yours, walking side by side with the companionable silence, all the way back to the shack. Almost there. You recognize, from the incredibly flashy signs, touring places like Mystery Shack this way, and Sasquatch to your left, that you're extremely close to arriving back at the shack. As you and Ford leave the tree line, you see the bright light shining on the porch. You make out the faint outline of the kids' shadows as they run through the house and emerge in the attic window, and Mabel pushes it open, laying out. Grunkle Ford! Finally! You guys took so long! I had time to cover waddles and macaroni! Why would you do that? I have my reasons. Did you get the thing? Yes, and I'm coming inside, so we can stop shouting. Did your wife come along? They got a pig to save. Ford strides into the shack, a man on a mission. He grin and follow, not before taking one last look at the night sky. Yeah, maybe you'll stay. Won't be too bad after all. Back inside the shack, the grand conclusion to your exploration of the Mothman's cave is sizzling spritzing Mabel's pig with the newly finished deterrent until the poor pig reeks of lavender. You see Mabel and Dipper head into the up to bed, sleepier than usual as a result. Something about lavender is so smoothing to the senses that you crash out fairly soon after phase first into your makeshift bed. Love meter. It's like you were made for each other. Can you give me any dating tips? Actually, I think I'm gonna save here and end it for today, and I'll just do in parts instead. My throat is killing me, and I did, I think, an hour or so I'm gonna save. If you want my contact, please subscribe below, help out, and comment down below. See you guys next time.